Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 3 in our not-so-random Hearts of Iron map. We are playing as France, attempting to survive against Germany. May be a taller order than what we necessarily bargained for, but I don't think it's going to be that difficult, at least in the initial get-go. As France, you do have the benefit of not being Germany's primary target in the beginning. So we will have some span of time with which to continue to bump up our officer ratio. It is only March. I'm talking kind of defeatist at this point, actually. I should probably stop that. We aren't, in dire straits or anything like that. In fact, we're basically finished with our upgrades at this point, which is sort of surprising, actually. Our army is actually up to date. We can't see how it compares to the German army. And all of the infantry divisions and all of the divisions really that existed since the start of the game have a pitiful amount of experience. Look at this, just 6.43%. Compare that to one that we built, it's already up at 12.6%. That will increase as our reinforcements get to the front line. So I guess that's a good thing. I think I am going to take some time out now to reorganize the command structure of the French army, and it's really sort of easy to just do a complete wipe like this with the unassign all button. Now nobody is leading anything anymore, and we can go back through and reassign everything, tank everybody's organization for a bit, but we're not in the middle of a war, so it's not going to be that humongous of a deal. Let's see if we can find well, who's our highest skill general right now? Koenig is good. What we want is someone with the defense doctrine who's not old guard, so either one of these guys would be good, I suppose. There's de Gaulle. He's a battle master and an offensive doctrine, which is fine, but not what we want. Okay, let's pick George, I guess. In the North African front, what we need is a supply... let's do this guy, Logistics Wizard and Battle Master. We'll assign him to head up the North African front. And the Motorized Corps, we want another supply dude. Here's the Logistics Wizard. Maybe we can find someone with both. I don't think so. How about let's put de Gaulle in charge of the African Motorized Corps, and we'll do our best to find some Battle Masters to put in charge of each of the motorized divisions that we have down here. These guys do need to be fairly well experienced. They're basically going to be fighting without support down here. Let's do one of these things. Expand the North African front. It's just a little bit easier that way, focusing on exactly what you want to get, rather than being distracted by all this secondary information. While you're not at war, decreasing the rank of people is just fine. Now, I was wrong earlier when I said that the skill is modified when you decrease someone's rank. It's actually their experience percentage right here. So if someone's at like 75% experience and you demote them, then they lose all of that experience. So it's not too good of an idea to actually be demoting your people in the middle of a conflict. That said, it's not the middle of a conflict right now, so I'm going to demote whoever the hell I please. I will be putting a cut in here, I think, because we're not exactly going to want to watch all of this nonsense. Okay, Mountain Corps, we want someone with a defense doctrine. Yeah, they're going to be on the defensive for a bit. And for these guys, I suppose what we really just want is decently skilled guys. I mean, these are our special forces, basically. They don't need to have any specific... Trickster is nice. I like Trickster. They don't need to have any real specific talents or skills or traits or anything like that. Preferably, they just don't need to be old guards. I think we're going to leave our old guards completely out of the command structure. They just... Experience is such a necessary thing in this game that to just have a class of... a whole group of your leaders just... Make it so that your units gain 50% less skill? That's just horrible. No, that's bad. Okay, but the Maginot army is actually somewhere where I'd be okay having the old guard active, especially these fairly skilled ones. I mean, 3 skill is not... It's nothing to sneeze at, you know? Let's try to find as many old guard as we can, and we'll assign them to the Maginot army. Just because these aren't going to be the units that we depend on for the defense of our... well, I mean, we're going to be depending on them, but it's not nearly as important as the actual the Belgian front and the Dutch front up in the north. So the first army and the second army we're going to give all of the actual good leaders. But look at all of the old guard that France has to deal with. Just remnants of the Great War, not used to blitzkrieg and mechanized warfare. Some of them are decent leaders. I mean, we had some skill 3 and skill 4 old guard generals to choose from, but the vast majority of them are just going to be a detriment to the troops under their command. So we'll leave them in the Maginot line where they can do the least amount of harm possible. Maybe they will get experience, maybe they won't, maybe we'll just need to reassign them later, and conveniently, it looks like we had, yeah, exactly the right amount of old guard. That's pretty awesome. Alright, now who's going to be in charge of the first army, and who's going to be in charge of the second army? Well, I think we just pick someone who, I mean, we are going to be pretty much on the defensive right from the get-go, but having a high skill leader is relatively important. Even if they do follow the offensive doctrine, at least then we'd be able to counterattack fairly well. The Armored Corps, we will search for specifically Battle Masters, and we'll put the most skilled Battle Masters in charge of the Armored Corps, and then some of the, let's do the medium tanks. We'll also get the Battle Masters. They're not that spectacular yet, but I suppose they'll get better. We'll be able to get our use out of them, and we'll assign another Battle Master down to one of these medium armored brigades, and the rest of them, I suppose. Let's look for an engineer, I suppose. Better river attack, sort of to counter their malices. How about we do the offensive doctrine for these guys? We'll do highly skilled offensive generals. When we want to deploy the tanks, we want to deploy them in an attacking fashion, and we sort of want them to be as good as possible, because when we're going to be basically using the tanks as a quick reserve force. They're not going to be directly on the front lines, at least that's the hope, that they're not going to be directly on the front lines. It could be that we're just going to get pushed back left and right, and so everywhere will always be the front lines, but the general hope is that the tanks will be used only where they're needed most. Supply might be a thing. Let's do defensive doctrine, and we'll assign the leaders of the Corps. We'll assign defensive doctrine people first before we assign anybody else. We don't really have that many defensive doctrine leaders, but that's okay. Ninth Corps. All these lucky generals getting promotions. I wonder if we'll have enough generals to lead all of our troops. It really wouldn't be good to have a whole bunch of troops without leaders, but maybe something that is just a sort of a requirement. Now, this is apparently a motorized division. I don't know why that is named what it's named. It's interesting. Oh, maybe this... I think this was one of the infantry divisions that we started with at the beginning that had an armored car brigade attached to it for some unknown reason. That just seems really silly to me. Like, how is that motorized infantry? Just because you attach an armored car brigade to a normal brigade, that just... How is that motorized infantry? they've got some armored cars that drive alongside them, but the infantry still need to walk everywhere. It's not like you've got motorized transport or even mechanized transport. It's not like you have armored personnel carriers. No, you've just got some cars that drive alongside them. Doesn't make any sense. Okay, at this point, we're basically just assigning the highest skilled generals that we can to our infantry division, so that once they do engage the Germans, they will actually have some ability to contest them. Our army will probably be fairly weak when we do come in contact with the Germans. We're probably going to be doing a lot of falling back, a lot of counterattacking. We may actually end up losing a significant amount of land. There I go, being all defeatist again. I'm sure that we'll win. You know, the French put up a good fight in the Second World War. Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, so there's all of our army is now actually commanded. How many generals? Oh, we have a significant amount of generals left. Be able to deploy them elsewhere as they're needed. The Indo-Chinese front with absolutely no troops. I'm going to leave you without a general. No, you know, that's kind of silly. Let's do the logistics wizard. I mean, congrats. You just got a promotion to the Indo-Chinese front. You have no troops under your command. How do you feel about yourself? Navy now. Yeah, just highest skill. We're probably not going to be in any real combat with our Navy, but we just want the best skilled guys that we can. And the main battle fleet as well. Spotter is good. Yeah, that'll be fine. Now, because they're 13 ships, we actually need to promote this guy. Do we need to promote the other one too? You're good, and you're good. Okay. Now, the submarine fleet, we really want to focus on those with the Sea Wolf trait, and preferably ones without the Old Guard, but that may be impossible to do. Let's demote you. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like we only have 3 Sea Wolves. Maybe more people will get them. I don't know. But we'll then switch to just the highest skill. The highest skill non-old guards will be in charge of our submarines. Maybe they can get some experience out of it. Oh, we have another one. There we go. And the transport flotilla, we can assign an old guard to that. That's fine by me. Okay, we want to go to our Air Force and group up these 2 stacks of tactical bombers. I suppose it's... No, we don't want the highest skilled air commander. Oh, he is a tank buster, so he has better tactical attack. Okay, yeah, we'll assign tank busters to the tactical bombers. And for these guys, air tacticians. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Sure. I mean, our Air Force is pitifully small anyway, so... Alright, so there's all that. Fine and dandy. We're still working on improving our officer ratio. Hopefully we can get it up there in time. But we are now able to reduce our investment in upgrades, which is always good. Spend those resources elsewhere. Now, in cases like this, unfortunately, you basically need to go back every single day, which is sort of silly. Otherwise, you'll be wasting some of your industrial capacity. I do wish that they'd set this up a little bit better. You can set it on AI control, but the AI sometimes makes really stupid decisions about where to invest your industrial capacity. Ooh, here we go. Germany just annexed Czechoslovakia. Poland decided to mobilize. Italy is annexed Albania. So Albania is gone. Czechoslovakia is gone. The United Kingdom has guaranteed the independence of Poland, so now we are officially allies with Poland. We'll start to get information about their borders soon. And it's March. I think we might want to mobilize. Being caught with our pants down is not a situation we want to be in. It's going to be very expensive in the meantime, but okay, we need to redeploy our Air Force probably. Let's put an interceptor over here and an interceptor right here. I don't like to put them right here, right next to the border, because it's just way too easy for them to... They can even use their close air support aircraft to bomb us right there. And flying our bombers out of Paris is just fine, because they can hit the entire eastern border... Sorry, western border of Germany. Our eastern border, but hey, whatever works. Now this does mean that we're going to be spending a significantly larger amount on consumer goods. And I'm going to cut back on our upgrades to prioritize reinforcement just a little bit for now. Our supply need will also increase. And in the meantime, we aren't researching anything. We still aren't researching anything. But, I mean, you do what you need to, don't you? Our second army still isn't quite ready for combat, so we really prefer for the war to wait. Like, if the war could just wait a little bit, I'd be very happy with it. Our officer ratio is still pitiful. Hungary's been accepted into the Axis, and were we... I think we were influencing... No, it's Romania that we're influencing. Yeah, and we've pushed them pretty far out of the Axis. That may not matter. Poor Poland. Hopefully you can get your reserves to the fronts in time. Maybe give Germany a little bit of a kick in the teeth, maybe. Another motorized we can send down to Africa, and the beginning of our... Which corps? 12th Corps of Infantry. Attached to the 2nd Army. We have a better guy we can put in charge of you. And what are you? You are offensive. Yeah. You are offensive. Good. I didn't like you either. Up the supply production. Still focusing on reinforcement. Just eating up our manpower. South Africa's been accepted into the Allies. I guess that's cool. But I mean, we have manpower to use it. Well, that's just a pitiful amount. Italy has been accepted into the Axis. Now, this does not mean that they will immediately attack us as soon as the war is declared. They may decide to instead focus down here. I don't know what their end goal is necessarily going to be, but speaking of African front, let's continue to move our units down in that direction. Our subs, let's see, how about we base 2 submarine groups in there, and we'll move some subs up north, particularly the higher range ones. We'll move them up to Calais. This still leaves us with 7 units of submarines here, as well as the Mediterranean Task Force. That should be good. And our 12th Corps is coming along very nicely. Didn't deploy one to the Armored Corps? No, okay. Alright, so you're almost full up. Let's make sure that your leaders aren't stupid. 2 skill. 2 skill. And 2 skill. Alright, good. Keep those reinforcements coming. Unfortunately, all of the units that we currently have queued up are reservists, so they're not going to be deployed at full strength, but I suppose worse things have happened. Our supply need just keeps skyrocketing. As does our consumer goods need. Yeah, where before we were building with 80 of our industrial capacity, now we're only building with 60. Which sort of is bad, but what can you do about it? Our Mediterranean division is almost complete. I'm going to leave one in Tunis just so that we have a good port. Once again, the likelihood is that Italy will not immediately attack us, so we may end up needing to pull all these units back, depending on how horribly this goes up here. Presumably it won't go too horribly. That's the hope anyway. It is May. We are fully mobilized. So is Poland, which is nice. I'm not entirely sure if Germany is mobilized yet or not. How are our spies doing? Not too well. We just don't have very many of them left. I mean, we're not doing anything in either of these countries. They're just really good at killing our spies as we send them. Manpower is ticking downwards very quickly. We only gain 6.4 per month. So, reinforcing our troops after any major battle is probably going to be a difficult thing to do. We will definitely be on the defensive. There's no way we'll be able to push into the heart of Germany unless they seriously miscalculate and deploy most of their troops over on the Soviet border. So really we just need to wait until Barbarossa happens. We just need to hold out for like 4 years. Okay, so just deployed you. Skill level 2, offensive doctrine. Wonderful. And another for our Armored Corps. Armored Corps is almost completely full, which is great. Just one more. January 8th of 1940. That's unfortunate timing, because more than likely you won't be done in time for the actual start of the war. And this is our Expeditionary Corps, which probably won't be done. I mean, you're going to get done in August, but you're going to get done in September, giving you just about a month before the historical start date. We might need to peel off a corps of our regular armies to try to go up north and save Denmark. Maybe. Let's up the upgrades back up to, well, let's do full. Bump the reinforcement back down. What are we building still? Convoy, aircraft, Expeditionary Infantry Corps. I mean, let's start on another expeditionary. Oh, we can build special forces units now. It's actually letting us build a special forces. Not 5 of them. We can build... How many can we build? We can build 1. We can build 1 of them. We can build 1 chasseur alpin. Alright. Well, we had been talking about expanding the mountain infantry. All of these are 3 stacks. How about we just build, let's see, there are 5 here, all of them at 3 stacks. So we'll build 1 Special Forces division, and it's not going to let us build another one, which is fine, and we'll build 4 mountain divisions as well. Each one of those is relatively expensive. I mean, this is just for 1 brigade here, but it'll be nice to get another Special Forces unit out. They're not immediately better than normal infantry, but they do have some pretty neat bonuses if you set them up in the right terrain. Up to about 85% officer ratio, and it looks like our manpower has stabilized. It's a far cry from the 500 it was at just a little bit ago, unfortunately, but you do what you need to. It was going to happen anyway. Supply need is still skyrocketing. We do have a fairly nice stockpile of supplies, but I don't want to get rid of it yet. Poland is continuing to cancel our trade agreements. They're probably hurting under the strain of mobilization as well. Hopefully they stay mobilized. In my last game, they actually demobilized because they had run out of money, so they couldn't afford the resources necessary to dump everything into consumer goods and in supplies. I don't know why they decided to demobilize. It just seems like a stupid decision on their part. I think the AI was just having an off day at that point. Keep on reinforcing. Keep on upgrading, please. Alright, De Gaulle, are you ready? Oh. I need to actually move you down this way. Let's strategically redeploy you. Take the railroads or whatever. And here's our light armored brigade that we are assigning down here. We didn't move our transports. You're right, yeah, we moved the submarines. So let's use these guys to bring our our first tank. The first African Corps tank group. Attach you to the African motorized. Unfortunately, I mean, logistics wizard and commando is nice. Yeah, sure. You might need to fight without the use of the proper materials. I'm not sure how effective we'll be down here if Italy is good at blockading us. We're basically going to need to trust England to protect this place over here. I mean, Italy might try a naval invasion of Beirut. It's really... I mean, that's 5 victory points, it's true. It is rather important. I don't know. Really can't afford to be sending units off willy-nilly right now. If Beirut falls, France will not fall. But if France falls, Beirut will. So, the Turks are poised to annex the province of Hatay, part of our Mandate of Syria. Which one's Hatay? This group, right here. Why do they call it Hatay? It's not Hatay, it's Antakya region. Do I want to increase my relationship with Turkey or decrease my relationship with Syria? Syria doesn't even exist. Is Turkey going to go to war with me over this? Okay, so what's produced up here? Nothing. I mean, there's a port up there, which is neat. No. No, Turkey, go away. What are you going to do, declare war on me? Bring it on. Bigger than you. Well, yeah, much bigger than you. Look at this. That's like you. I own that. It's not even a normal part of me. This is a normal part of me. I have France. I own like a third of the world. What are you doing? Alright, our officer ratio is looking a little bit better. I mean, we haven't been researching anything this entire time. Basically since January, and it's July already. But we need to get it up. I would really have preferred to wait until we got a higher draft law, but our national unity needs to be at 70. Now, it's almost there. It's almost there. And all of our spies are focused on raising national unity at this point, so it's going up as quickly as possible. We're just going to need to suffer through with a relatively poor officer ratio at the beginning of the war. In the meantime, we are spending a significant amount more on consumer goods and supplies than we really need to be. As far as I know, Germany hasn't even mobilized yet. Of course, I don't know. When do I get radar? Oh, right, I'm not researching. Well, let's bump radar up and grand battle plan, and we'll have at least let's do 2.5 research projects going, because these are the really important ones. We have plenty, I think, of influence. Let's drop that back down to maybe, yeah, 2.2. There we go. Upgrade need is remarkably low, especially compared to where it was previously. And it is now August of 1939. It's almost September. Look at all of the German troops along the poor Polish border. Oh boy. Sorry, Poland, buddy. What am I supposed to do, huh? What am I supposed to do? And there's the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. There is technically a chance that they won't do this, but it's really, really likely for them to do it. Basically, they agreed to split Poland right down the middle. The Soviet Union and the Germans just agreed to a complete split of Poland. Okay, so this is our first... I mean, we'll call it the 13th Corps. 13th Corps is fine. And do we have any skill 2? No. We'll do one of these guys, though. And I'm going to create a new army, but you aren't going to be the 3rd Army, you're going to be the Expeditionary. Alright, there we go. Wonderful. Now what am I wasting production on now? Production, actually. Okay, so we've got all of our Special Forces units, we've got our our first Expeditionary Corps being built, finishing up the tank the Armored Corps, finishing up our Air Force. I mean, we're going to need more Air Force units. I'm just only wanting to dedicate 20 IC at a time to it, as silly as that may sound. I generally tend to ignore all of this down here because it doesn't really mean anything. What are you really asking for? Really, just more airplanes? I understand that I need more airplanes. What do you want me to do about it? I guess maybe at this point we start. I mean, it's always good to have more infantry. I think we need at least one more corps for the Expeditionary Corps. And then we really need to cut back on the amount of manpower that we're spending solely on infantry. Because infantry really is a manpower sink. We can start increasing our air force a little bit. There we go. Germany has mobilized. Pretty soon they're going to attack. It is August of 1939. Traditionally they attacked at the what was it, the beginning of September, the end of September? Can't quite remember. We're at 68% national unity. Soon we'll be able to institute that 2-year draft. I'm confident. They won't attack the Low Countries immediately, and they will not be able to break through our Maginot Line. It's just not going to happen. They're just not going to be able to break through the Maginot Line. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is detach the 2nd Armored Corps and detach one of the medium armored units and attach it back to the 2nd Armored Corps. And then attach the 2nd Armored Corps to the Maginot Army. And we're going to bring this over here. And these guys we are going to attach to the Expeditionary Army, just for the meantime, and bring them up to Calais. And we're going to bring our transport fleet up north this way because we're done transporting units between France and Tunisia. I think we should rebase not our backup fleet, but our main battle fleet to the extreme north, Dunkirk. Sounds fine to me. So you'll be able to sortie this way whenever you feel the need to. Basically, I want our medium tanks over here so that if Germany does, like, this is pretty well defensible territory for Germany as well. It's behind a river, and they've built some fortifications. But up here, these two provinces have no fortifications. Have no river, and it's just hills and forests. So we might actually be able to force our way through here and push all the way up to this river. Although that might also be overextending our lines a little bit, because we'll still need to make sure to keep a force down here to help defend the Maginot. Did I not move you up north? I thought I did. Move to Calais. And yeah, we'll pull this army off, and this corps down here that we're just building, we'll have reinforce the Maginot Line if it needs it. The Maginot Line may be just fine. They may decide to just completely ignore it. Alright, but it's the 20th of August. I'm going to put a cut in here. Thanks for watching the video, everyone. Feel free to like, comment, or subscribe if you so feel the desire to. If not, don't worry about it. I'm always welcoming to constructive criticism. Go ahead and leave it in the comments, or go ahead and send me a private message. Either way, I hope you'll join me for the next video. Thanks much, and I'll see you all next time.